Welcome into another edition of the Cory Sanding Show, everybody. A Sunday post-game NFL edition of the Cory Sanding Show. I'm your host, yours truly, as always, and welcome into a better, more cheerful edition of the show compared to yesterday. We're going to react to some early NFL action. Got the Chiefs-Eagles game on right now as Mahomes just got sacked back at nearly the 40-yard line. We're going to be talking about that game a little bit. We'll look ahead to the Falcons-Vikings showdown tonight and just some wild action here in the 1 o'clock games. This is what you love. This is what you live for. This is what every NFL fan was hoping for, and this is what we missed ultimately throughout the offseason. And now that football is back, I couldn't be any happier. But I'd be remiss if those of you that are just tuning in, please go to the YouTube side if you can. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you enjoy it. Comment to boost the algorithm, and be sure to hit that bell button to get notified of when we drop our live content throughout the week. So we're going to go ahead and get, Harrison Butker's lining up for a long field goal try, so we'll go ahead and give him that. Let's see. Got it right on line, and he drills it. So 7-3 Eagles right now in the first quarter of that one. This one, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one of my favorite sponsors, Clean Eats Knoxville, fitness gurus out there. This is a cheat code when it comes to meal prep. Those of you who feel like you don't have time to go ahead and cook every week, spend 3 to 4 hours getting stuff ready. Maybe you run out midway through the week and you don't feel like doing it again, then Clean Eats is the place for you. Makes it really easy. We're going to do our order right here. Already logged into my account. Pick your cafe that you're going to choose to. I always go to Bearden. It's my favorite location. And then we're going to get into what we got this week. Barbecue mashed potato bowl. You know, I'm kind of in the mood for a little bit of barbecue. I'll go with a couple of those. Always got to go with some chicken. Well, you know, we'll see. 21 grams of protein. Always got to get some egg bites and chocolate chip waffles. I mean, come on now. We got to have some indulgence here and there. Cowboy mac and cheese, I'm going to go with a bit of those, 36 grams of protein. Always going to get me a Southwest taco bowl because that's a high protein count. And, of course, I want me some bison. So far we got 2, 4, 6, 8. We got 10 ordered so far. So I'll go with a little bit of rosemary steak. And, you know, I guess I'm going to go with it all this week. Hot honey chicken bites. You go down, can order some extra stuff as well. Got dessert bars, empanadas, cleanwiches. Let's see. You know what? I think I'm going to go with a pack of strawberry PB&Js. I always can go for a little bit of sweet treats throughout the week. You click continue. And as you saw there, you can choose low-carb options if you choose. Always hit pay in store. You review your order right here. Totals right there. Coupon codes and if it applies. You hit place. And it's that simple. You do that Tuesday through Sunday, and then they're ready to pick up on Monday or Tuesday if you choose low carb or high protein options. So Clean Eats, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. So getting into the first game of the afternoon that I could not wait to get into was Ravens. Bouncing back from disappointing loss last Sunday to the Bills, in which they held a 15-point lead with less than 5 minutes to go. Bounce back to beat the Browns in their home openers. They celebrated the team's 30th anniversary season in Joe Flacco's return to M&T Bank Stadium. The Ravens running game never got going. They sold out to stop the run. Smart on Cleveland's part because you want to try to make the Ravens as one-dimensional as possible. It's the only way you really can slow down an offense like that. They did so. Derrick Henry had probably one of his worst game as a Raven, 11 carries, 23 yards. Team as a whole rushed for 45 yards if you count Cooper Rush's 3 kneel downs at the end. And they still got it done. That was the primary silver lining. So that they still put up 41 points. Roquan Smith had a scoop and score. He played phenomenally. A lot of mature plays on the defense. Marlon Humphrey did tip the ball to Cedric Tillman. Was not too happy about that. But overall, a good bounce back performance by the defense with Jair Alexander sitting. Still trying to get him right, get him healthy for the stretch run, which I am completely okay with. Zay Flowers looked great again. 7 catches, 75 yards. DeAndre Hopkins proven that time knows no boundaries. The same with Derrick Henry. 2 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Arguably could have been 2 touchdowns, but his knee was unfortunately down. Tez Walker, 2 catches, 26 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tez Walker has 3 catches in his career. All 3 have gone for touchdowns. Those are you Ravens fans that remember his first one against the Giants last year, the toe tap in the back of the end zone. But Ravens overall, Joe Flacco, in his return, 25 of 45, 199 yards, didn't play too great, a touchdown and a pick, only had a passer rating of 65. Quinshon Judkins in his first game, 10 carries, 61 yards, looked good from time to time. Jerome Ford, 6 carries, 30 yards. And, of course, the Cleveland receivers led by Jerry Jeudy with 4 catches for 51 yards. Cleveland only passed for 218 yards, which was encouraging. The Ravens' pass defense has been much maligned, even, when they finished the season strong last year. And it's really encouraging to see them get it together this week, considering that they all but had Josh Allen dead to rights heading into the fourth quarter, and then he pops off for 251 passing yards in one quarter with a less than, a subpar receiving core. I wouldn't say Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir are anything to write home about, and the Ravens defense, and particularly Jair Alexander on that last drive, looked bad. But encouraging performance, very encouraging performance. Lamar Jackson was damn near perfect, 19 of 29 for 225 and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, passer rating of 128.6 despite taking 3 sacks. The Browns' defensive front was phenomenal. They really controlled, especially the right side of the Ravens' offensive line. Unfortunately, you're trying to run him away from Myles Garrett because of how much of a game wrecker he is, and you run into that side of the line led by for the unfortunate Daniel Faalele, struggled mightily throughout the game, and that's one reason why Derrick Henry wasn't able to really get off for anything. Like I said, perhaps his worst game statistically as a Raven, but even with that, as Saquon Barkley catches a pass out of the backfield and breaks a tackle and gets a first down, and they caught him out of bounds. I thought he spun and stayed in, but overall, of course you would have liked a more complete game, but when you drop 40 points at home and in a game that's not really your best performance, I don't know if there's anything more encouraging than that. Those of you that are on this in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and put y'all up on the screen. Overall, I guess we can get into, what the ultimate return meant. As those of you know, Joe Flacco was the Ravens quarterback when Lamar Jackson was drafted in 2018. They traded up in the first round to get him at number 32, Ozzie Newsome's last pick of the Ravens as a Ravens GM, and it very well could go down to be his best pick as the Ravens GM. See, Jalen Hurts got all sorts of time here on third down. He's going to run it, and he gets the first down. So Philly doing Philly things. Kansas City might start 0-2 for the first time in the Mahomes era, which would be something to behold. But as I said before, this is definitely not the same Chiefs team as it was a few years ago. But back to Flacco and Lamar. I remember the days when he was first drafted. I remember the days when the Ravens didn't think they could get it done with him as quarterback, despite the defense and the running game they had with, hate to mention his name, Ray Rice, Ricky Williams, Willis McGahee back in the day, and then defense led by Ray, Ed, Terrell Suggs, and Haloti Ngata. Got it together, became a fantastic playoff performer really in 2011 on, played great in the postseason, did a lot of great things, made a lot of money, and he did good things as the Ravens quarterback, but overall he was never more than a game manager when it came to the majority of the game of regular season games. His QBR throughout the regular seasons in his career is 55, which is below league average, which is why, you hear me and primarily Skip Bayless refer to him as Joe Flacco, which I think is a pretty accurate nickname. Not to throw any shade on him, I'm very much appreciative. I still have a Flacco jersey that's still hanging in my closet that I have not gotten rid of, nor have I set a lighter or match to. Great to see him do things for people noticing how good he can be, how many tools he has at his repertoire to be an effective NFL quarterback with that comeback player of the year a few years ago with the Browns. But overall, I think this perhaps could be the beginning of the end. Obviously, he was not the long-term solution. You have Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, funny enough, didn't want to play for the Ravens because he wanted to get a chance to play, which makes total sense. I would have done the same thing. And I guess the Eagles did not get the first down. They ended up punting the ball. So I was wrong about that one. My play-by-play abilities need to have a little work done to them, obviously. But yeah, offensive line on the right side needs a little work. They're meshing, they're gelling. I think they'll get it together towards the middle of the end of the season. Defense as well, even though this was an encouraging performance, but the Browns offense is nothing to write home about. But we're going to get back to a few quotes the Browns had here in a few. But we're going to go ahead and get into a little bit of post-game reaction. First off, we're going to start off with Kyle Van Noy, Marlon Humphrey went out with injuries. John Harbaugh said there was nothing season-ending. Rasheen Ali as well, and they'll be evaluated tomorrow, which is a good thing. The Ravens did just restructure Roquan Smith's contract. Maybe they'll free up some cap space to go sign another veteran pass rusher. Jadeveon Clowney left Dallas without a deal. Last time he was in a Ravens uniform, he had a career season, so maybe that'll be something on the table moving forward. But we're going to go ahead and get into a little bit of post-game reaction real quick, and then we'll react on the other side. First, we're going to start with John Harbaugh and the poise that the Ravens showed coming off of a tough loss. So hear what he has to say, and then we'll react on the other side.
These two guys, man, not just these two guys. I mean, guys like Rowe and Kyle Hamilton and Kyle, all the guys. I can't mention them all. Ronnie, guys that just led this week and just kept their poise and just locked in and said, let's have a great week of practice and get ready to go play a really tough football game against a good team that had a lot to play for, who's going to win. I've said it before, they're going to win a lot of games this year.
And he might be correct in that assumption that they're going to win a lot of games this year. But to win a lot of games this year, you have to do, you can't win games or lose games that you should win. That's one thing I should say. Can't lose games you should win. They already did that once. Hopefully, as a Ravens fan, that'll be now and not later. But overall, a lot of encouraging signs. That's a typical John Harbaugh quote. Those of you that have listened to him give his pressers over the years. But we're going to go get into a little bit of Lamar Jackson. He touched on DeAndre Hopkins here. Going to go ahead and show you that quote, and we'll react on the other side. See what we got here.
Oh, man, I've seen it, his whole career. Even when I wasn't in the league, I've been watching D-Hop make spectacular catches, and when he was on other teams as well.
I have to. I felt it, man. I felt it.
But just seeing him in camp, just building chemistry there. And I feel like everyone called him, I believe people call him washed, stuff like that. But he's showing otherwise.
Yeah. He's doing exactly what the Ravens brought him in to do. He's making big plays. He's not the number one guy. He never has been, or he never has been. Lord, shame on me for saying that. He's not the number one guy anymore, and they knew that bringing him in. He's a number 3 guy that can make contested catches, and ironically, aside from that third down catch against Buffalo, every catch he's made has been contested, and they've been hellaciously good plays. I love having him as our third receiver. Then you have a guy like Tez Walker, who's very capable of coming off and being a more polished route runner and ball catcher than Tylan Wallace, even though Tylan Wallace did have a good play today as well. But overall, it's great having veteran leadership, which it makes the collapse is more mind-boggling because the Ravens have so many veteran players and have so many veteran coaches. Kareem Hunt's gashing the Philly defense right now. Zach Orr may not have been a coach for very long, but he's been in that organization since the early 2010s, and he knows how it operates. So I have faith in him to get it together. He did today. Told him that they're not going to have as long of a leash this season as they did last year to get their shit together. Can't really afford that, given that Buffalo even didn't have the greatest offensive performance today. Josh Allen struggled, and they still blew out the Jets because the Jets are the Jets, and I cannot believe that I picked them to upset the Bills. Oh, Lord have mercy. That's a big loss, L, on my part. But when it comes to the Ravens, defense showed up again. I think one question mark we've had over the past 2 seasons is what's happening with Roquan Smith. Why has he looked a little out of shape? Has he looked a little slow? Is losing Patrick Queen derailing the Ravens, interior, their linebacking core? He said it's, kind of difficult. Once again, they're rotating 2 people beside him. Teddy Buchanan looks like more of the full-time starter now, and Trenton Simpson, who just cannot seem to get going and live up to his physical tools or his physical talent. But overall, Roquan Smith was all over the place today. As you see, they hear 15 combined tackles. I believe 3 of them were for losses at one point in the first half. He had a scoop and score in which he looked look at this picture alone. He looked very much in shape. A lot of good things from Agent Zero today, showing why he's been first-team All-Pro. Even last year when he struggled, he was a first-team All-Pro selection next to Fred Warner. Obviously, I think he's 1A, probably 1B. Maybe, it's a clear 1, too. But Roquan Smith is one of the best 2 linebackers in all of football, and he showed that today. He was all over the field, running to the ball, making hard tackles, getting pressure on Joe Flacco. The Ravens struggled last week to get pressure on Josh Allen. 2 totally different monsters right there, but overall, you can't let a guy like Flacco sit back and pick you apart, even with, a less than stellar receiving core. And they didn't allow that. I mean, honestly, Joe's only touchdown pass was one that Marlon Humphrey should get an assist for because it went right through his hands instead of batted it down on 4th down. He practically looked like he scooped it to Cedric Tillman. And obviously Cedric Tillman, a pretty sure-handed guy, was able to get it together and score. Kareem Hunt. Man, Kareem Hunt's getting a workload today. It looks like maybe the Chiefs at the 41 will go for another long Harrison Butker field goal. But let me know what you all think. Could this be the beginning of the end of Joe Flacco in the NFL? He's 41 years old. He's got a ton of kids at home. He's made plenty of money, and he's definitely not in any team's future plans to be the long-term starter. I think this honestly could be it. It'd be ceremonious if he just signed a one-day contract after this year and retire a Raven. I think anyone with brains knows that that's what's going to happen. But overall, encouraging game for the Ravens. I'm encouraged. I think there's a lot they can build on with a big couple weeks coming up, with Detroit coming in next week on Monday Night Football, the blackout game, and then you go to Kansas City the next week. And well, no, I say that wrong. Kansas City goes for it on 4th and 4, and now Travis Kelce's having a conniption fit because he made the play. Travis Kelce, I'll never forgive you for screwing me out of a ton of fantasy points last year, but they went for it, and Travis Kelce scooped it up and made an old school Travis Kelce play. So now Kansas City's on the doorstep of maybe taking the lead. Who knows? Still have faith in the Eagles to win this game, but I'd like to win some money. Wouldn't mind that. Moving on to the next game, though. Bengals beat the Jags at home 31-27, but they lose Joe Burrow to what is being termed as a toe injury. But Joe Burrow had to have help getting back to the locker room. And then following the game, he actually was riding a scooter before was cited leaving the locker room in a boot and crutches. That being said, Jake Browning played a phenomenal game from the time he came in. For a backup, I mean, he's obviously gotten it done for them before, and it was a big game. I mean, they're 2-0. They're 2-0 for the first time, I think, in the Burrow era, which is a big plus given the injury. But Jake Browning comes in, 21 of 32 for 241. He threw 2 touchdowns, did throw 3 interceptions. Burrow was 7 of 13 for 76 yards and a touchdown before he went out. Trevor Lawrence, 24 of 42 for 271, 3 touchdowns, and again, 2 interceptions just because he's just not that guy. Travis Etienne rushed 14 carries for 71 yards. Chase Brown, 16 for 47. Did not get a touchdown, unfortunately. I kind of needed him that for one of my parlays. Jamar Chase, throwback game, 14 catches, 165 yards, and a touchdown. T. Higgins, 356 and another touchdown. And then obviously on the other side, De'Ami Brown, 5 catches, 57 yards and a touchdown. Parker Washington had 5 catches for 76 yards. Travis Hunter, 3 catches for 22 yards. But what he's going to be remembered for in this game, unfortunately, is that they put him in on defense, and he committed the pass interference penalty that ultimately set the Bengals up to win the game at the end. So not sure how much longer. And it looks like Mahomes just got sacked. There's a penalty thrown. I don't know if that'll be holding. It looks like it'll probably be holding, but his offensive line's not holding up too well either, but the Eagles' defense is something else. Overall, sloppy game, really sloppy game. A lot of early season AFC North football sloppy. Are they calling this on the Eagles or holding? They're not. Hollywood Brown looks like he's limping off the field. That's a familiar sight for Ravens fans. Don't wish that on anybody, but that's just who he is. We're going to see what's happening. I can't really get a sense of who the flag was on. I assumed as much it was on Kansas City because that looks like illegal contact, but I'm not sure. I guess I'll get an update here in a second, unless they called holding right there, which is very possible. And no, it's 3rd down. I guess it was I don't know, nullifying penalties. Not sure, but you got a feel for Joe Burrow. I mean, as I said before, I do not. Oh, Patrick Mahomes just ran over a DB. That's going to get the Chiefs fired up, and he got the 1st down. That's a big play. You feel for Joe Burrow. It's hard to root for Cincinnati because of Cincinnati fans and the way that they just act. As nauseating as they can be. And as much as I make fun of the Bengals and their inept organization on here, I don't make fun of anyone in the light of potentially major injuries. Who knows what's going to happen? But when your quarterback leaves in crutches and a boot, it's not a good sign. He could miss anywhere from a couple weeks to 4 to 6. That could derail Cincinnati. I mean, the fact that they're 2-0 is huge. But with Jake Browning as quarterback, they're just not the same offense. Thankfully, you have weapons for him to throw to, and then here the Eagles pass rush is getting Mahomes again, but he's able to escape one more time, and he just takes it in for the touchdown. So Kansas City's going up. They'll be up 10-3 probably after the extra point. Good bounce back drive for them. But back to Cincinnati, 2-0, great, but once again, it comes at a cost. Not saying that it's anyone's fault, but when you can't they do not have an offensive line to protect this guy. When you spend, at least Trey Hendrickson, they got their money's worth with the game-stealing sack. But when you spend 75% of your cap space on 4 players, and you don't have much room to fill the roster out elsewhere, and you're just hoping Shamar Stewart got hurt late in that game as well, that you're going to draft well every year to fill out your defense. It's just not the way the NFL works. Rookies typically struggle on defense. I mean, not always, but you have your once-in-a-generation talents every once in a while. But even like Malachi Starks, the highly touted rookie Ravens safety, dropped an interception last week that landed right in his hands. He was good today, but overall, it's a bummer because he's such a talented quarterback. He's probably the most accurate thrower of the football. Well, he's not probably. He is the most accurate thrower of the football in the league today. Led the Bengals to the Super Bowl, I believe it was 4 seasons ago now, AFC Championship game the next year, and then they just haven't been able to get it together since. A lot of that's to do with their departing. They lost Von Bell, they lost Jesse Bates to free agency because they couldn't afford to pay him, and they've been trying to really make up for it ever since. And I don't think that they have, particularly in the draft picks that they have. Shamar Stewart was highly touted because of his talent and his combine numbers, but he didn't really have that many sacks, didn't really have much of tape in college that proved that he's going to be a game wrecker. And who knows if he's going to be. He just got hurt. At least he got his money. I'm happy about that. But encouraging sign for the Bengals, discouraging sign for the Jags. I've never been a believer in Trevor Lawrence. Like I said, I don't think you're going to be putting Travis Hunter out there on defense for too much longer unless he just starts locking people up. But this is the NFL. Everyone's a professional. In college, maybe you get away with that. You have a little bit of grace. But I'm just not sold that that's something that's sustainable in the National Football League. It's a rough game. And I just don't think he's going to be able to keep up on both sides of the ball. But let me know what you think. Obviously, everyone's send your prayers out to Joe Burrow and hope for a speedy recovery. And, you hope for the best. But again, this happens. This is another year where it could be overshadowed by a Joe Burrow injury. And if that's the case, you just really wonder, what are you going to do moving forward? You don't get rid of the guy. He's too good to get rid of. But what are you going to do to fill out the roster around him? Because you can't let this guy's career he's going to have a career around the length of Andrew Luck, maybe a little longer if he doesn't get some protection. And that's coming from a guy that hates on the Bengals each and every day and every week. So prayers up for a speedy recovery. Good for the Bengals on getting to 2-0. Jag's going to jag. I feel that's all I have to say about that. Moving on to the next perhaps the most entertaining game of the week. Cowboys rallied to beat the Giants in overtime after it looked like that Russell Wilson had a throwback game for the ages. Well, not for the ages, for him. Cowboys rallied to win in overtime 40-37. They scored 41 combined points in the fourth quarter. Giants put up 21. Dallas put up 20. It looked like Russell Wilson had led them on the winning drive, and then Brandon Aubrey is just 64-yarder to tie the game. Take notes, Max Gilbert. Tennessee needs a kicker like that. College is harder to come by, but Brandon Aubrey, what a weapon. Looking like maybe he's the next Justin Tucker. Russell Wilson, 30 of 41 for 450 yards. Wow. 3 touchdowns, had the costly interception in overtime, which is 123 passer rating, but this has been the story of Russ's career since the Legion of Boom won him his only Super Bowl. Had a chance to go back-to-back. They put it more on his shoulders instead of handing the ball off to beast mode. And then, the rest is history. That's exactly kind of what happened today. Just basically, unless you consider this an arm punt, which the Giants still had plenty of opportunity to score, ultimately that set the Cowboys up with a chance to go down and kick the winning field goal, and they methodically worked their way down the field. Dak was 38 of 52 for 361 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and a pick. I was sacked 3 times, but was able to overcome that. Russell was sacked 3 times as well. Javonte Williams carries the ball 18 times for 97 yards and a touchdown as Saquon breaks it up the middle and gets them to within second and short. Not much of a run game for the Giants. 21 carries for 84 yards combined. Cowboys rushed for 135 yards as a team. CeeDee Lamb, another great game, 9 catches for 112. Didn't score, though, unfortunately. George Pickens, 5 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown. That'll help my fantasy team. Kevontae Turpin, 4 for 47 and a touchdown. Dallas got it done through the air, but so did the Giants. Malik Neighbors had a coming-out party, 9 catches for $167 and 2 touchdowns. Wan'Dale Robinson was right behind him with 8 catches for 142 and a touchdown. Lord have mercy. They averaged 18.6 yards and 17.8 yards per catch, respectively. And then Darius Slayton, 2 catches for 61 yards. So that's a 30.5-yard average. Sorry that I keep watching this game to the side, y'all. I just can't get enough football. But then Russ had the fumble. Thankfully, he didn't lose it. Dak had a fumble. Thankfully, he didn't lose it. But what a game. What a game. That's all I can say about that. Brandon Aubrey drills the game winner in overtime. You knew once they got into chip shot range that it was a foregone conclusion. But I guess that says a lot about the Cowboys that they were able to overcome that, because Malik Neighbors hauled in a 48-yard pass to score with 25 seconds left, and they were able to march down and get within only one of one kicker's field goal range. But they got it done, and you can't blame them for it. It took them all of overtime to get the game-winning field goal, but that was because it was an overtime full of mistakes, which honestly was pretty damn entertaining. But as I tweeted out, it's the story of Russ's career ever since they won his only Super Bowl. He's towards the end. That was a great game. It was a throwback game. It was probably his best game since, game against Cincinnati last year, or overall since he was in the running for MVP in 2019. Obviously, that was a race he was leading throughout the season until kind of coughed it away to Lamar there in that Ravens-Seahawks game midway through. Remember, he threw that pick six to Marcus Peters, and that ultimately changed the game. The Seahawks never really quite recovered from that. Neither did his numbers as well. But overall, a very, very, very encouraging performance late execution-wise by the Cowboys offense. But overall, I just don't see Dallas doing much this year. They have a talented offense, but that defense is missing Micah, and they just don't have a game record. They made some plays late, but you let the Giants score that many points on you. The Giants are not a good football team. They might have Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson, but overall, it's a young team with a lot of unproven faces and an unproven coach as well. So props to the Cowboys for overcoming it and winning it. I know Skip Bayless tweeted how about them Cowboys. We'll probably hear about it on the Arena and on the Skip Bayless show, but overall, I'm more looking forward to watching Chris Broussard put on his Ravens robe in more of a celebratory fashion again, and I can't wait to get mine in because I'm not even going to give away the next. But next game we're going to react to the Seahawks and Sam Darnold and Mike McDonald. What a combination of names. Breeze past the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers follows that game up against the Jets, in which he got his ultimate revenge with a subpar performance, 18 of 33 for 203 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Only had a passer rating of 58. That's why I call him Aaron Rodgers. Sam Darnold, 22 of 33 for 295, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks, outplayed him, despite them both throwing 2 interceptions. Pittsburgh's rushing attack, 21 carries for 72 yards. Jalen Warren only averaged 3.4 yards a carry, but they weren't getting it done through the air, and that's what you need, like the Ravens did today, when the ground game doesn't get going, especially considering Kenneth Walker carried the ball 13 times for 105 yards, 8 yards a carry and a touchdown. And then Jackson Smith-Njigba, great young receiver, 8 catches for 103. Cooper Kupp, great number 2, number 3 guy. Now, it's hard to say that now. 7 catches for 90 yards, and then you have Torrey Horton and A.J. Barner chipping in with a couple touchdowns as well. Now the team fumbled the ball, but obviously they gave away the game through the air. It was a bit closer early on, but as we saw, later on, kind of got away from Pittsburgh after they went down 10 points. They were never really able to recover. It was tied at 14 with 6:10 then left in the third quarter. Then obviously Jason Myers hits a field goal, and then you recover the kickoff in the end zone for a touchdown. How many times does that happen? Kind of a fluky play there, but Pittsburgh never really recovered. They got within a touchdown, and then obviously Kenneth Walker sealed it with about 4 minutes to go. I think this is just the Steelers team that most of us expected to see. They're not that great. They've got DK Metcalf. He's a great receiver, and they have a aging veteran quarterback who's just not what he used to be. He's capable of showing flashes, but consistently over the course of the season, it's not going to be the Aaron Rodgers that throws for 40 touchdowns and less than 8 interceptions in a season anymore. That's been proven, I think, the last 2 years, even his last year in Green Bay. I don't believe they made the postseason, and that was the reason they ultimately decided to move on to Jordan Love. But overall, it's just not a great football team. They'll make some noise because they have a great coach. They have great players on defense that are capable of making plays. But overall, as a unit, I think losing Minkah Fitzpatrick as your safety over the top was a detrimental blow. A lot of people didn't see it at the time because A.J. Brown, as I see him make a catch, need them fantasy yards. Everyone looked at Jalen Ramsey in the name. He's a great corner. He's aging. Made the game-winning play arguably last week against the Jets. But you have no safety over the top, and then you have aging corners in Ramsey and Darius Slay. Who knows how healthy they can be, but they're not what they used to be. TJ Watt and Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith can only do so much. They proved that last year. They were 10-3, and then all of a sudden Oh, wow. A.J. Brown with a catch of the year candidate right there, right in front of Trent McDuffie. That was tough. You needed that one. The minute 10 to go in the second quarter. We're nearing halftime. The Eagles are trying to move down and take the lead. Wow. Wow. That was a catch. Those of you that are watching the games right now, you'll see what I'm talking about. But great performance by Sam Darnold despite the turnovers. I mean, he was able to overcome them on the road and win. I mean, he's doing what we'll see what happens there. Sailed out of bounds. He's doing what he did last year, using his talented receivers to his advantage. I'm not a huge Sam Darnold believer. I think he needs the talent around him to be effective. And then when the biggest moment came last year, we always saw what happened in the playoff game. It doesn't matter if you win 14 games. You couldn't push them over the top to get a home playoff game. And then obviously you fall in the wild card round on the road. But encouraging for Seahawks fans because we didn't know what they were going to look like after losing DK Metcalf and not really getting much in return. But they got Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's looking like he could be a number one guy. We'll see what happens. We got 3 seconds on the play clock, 2nd and 10. Eagles have it at the end. They're going to have a delay of game or they're going to have to call timeout. One of the two. Let's see what they call here. I don't see a flag on the field. I think they're going to give them the timeout. I guess you could afford to expend one right there, but it's not really something you necessarily want, considering the fact that, I mean, I don't know. They still have plenty of time. You obviously would like to take the lead before halftime, giving Kansas City bounced back and responded like you'd expect them to. And those of you that have never tried this, I'd recommend you go pick one of these up. Now, granted, this is the Southern Sweet version crafted by our boy here, Morgan Wallen. But I got some iced tea with lemon. This is only 5 calories. The others are 0 calories. Great antioxidant blend. Really something to look forward to drinking if you want to get the taste of iced tea without all the calories and the sugar. But we're going to sit here and we're going to react to this game live as we go through some other action in our Mad Minute. This is our Mad Minute section. Obviously, you all know this is a quick take section that I introduced based on our quick math tests we used to take back in elementary school. Those of you that are my age and remember that. Right now, Cardinals up 20-3 on the Panthers. Not really surprised. Panthers, I've pretty much said that's a dead experiment. Broncos up 21-20. The Colts, Daniel Jones, 13-19 for 236 and a touchdown on that defense. I know they're at home, but that's impressive. Not a Danny Dimes guy, as they say. And then, obviously, the Lions bounced back with a big win over the Bears, 52-21. Jared Goff, 23 of 28 for 334 and 5 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, 12 carries, 94 yards and a score. Then Dunze, 7 catches for $128 and 2 scores. So Lions bounced back in their home opener. They really, unless they were not on the road last week. No, that was their home opener. Never mind. Bears are who we thought they were. Don't have the offense to get it done. Don't have the coaching staff to get it done. Don't have the defense. Caleb Williams is not a leader, and the Bears are in for a long year. I think they might end up finishing last in their division, and that's saying something given that Minnesota has a rookie quarterback who beat the Bears after they had a double-digit lead. So Rams go in and beat the Titans. Cam Ward had some good plays, but Matt Stafford closes the game out with 23 of 33 for 298 and a couple scores. Tony Pollard for the Titans led the game in rushing with 20 carries for 92 yards. Devontae Adams, throwback game, only 6 catches, but a $106 and a touchdown. I'll go look at Cam Ward's numbers. 19 of 33, not too great, 175 touchdown. He did not throw an interception, but he took 5 sacks. It's encouraging that he was able to stand in there and keep the game somewhat close until the Rams pulled away at the end. Calvin Ridley, 3 catches for 57 yards. Receivers are still letting him down. He did lose a fumble, rookie, prone to make some mistakes. But the Titans, they're in a transition year. I know a lot. I work with a lot of Titan fans at my day job. They're just looking for small strides, small steps as we look towards this 2nd and 10. Jalen Hurts been the shotgun. Saquon's in the back blocking. Not sure if he's going to leak out. Doesn't look like it. Jalen Hurts has all day to throw, and he still hasn't gotten rid of it, and he does finally, but A.J. Brown only gets 1 yard. That's a play where if you're Jalen Hurts, you're really trying to get down the field or maybe escape and run. He had the whole left side of the field open, but he did not decide to take off. I guess that's a good thing because it means he's a pass-first quarterback, and you know how a bunch of these old school football fans feel about young black running quarterbacks, not to try to start a race war or anything. But while we do that, continue with our Mad Minute. We've got The Patriots rallying to beat the Dolphins at home. The Dolphins aren't looking my pick of them make the playoffs over the Bengals. They're 0-2. The Bengals are 2-0. I think that they heard my take and said, hold my beer, Cory. Cincinnati fans do not love me. That's say the least. Tua didn't play bad. He was 26 of 32 for 315 and a couple scores. Had an interception, but he did take 5 sacks and still had a 115 passer rating. But he was overshadowed by Drake May, who only had 4 incompletions, 19 of 23 for 230 and 2 touchdowns and no picks. 137.3 passer rating. Played phenomenal. They rushed for 122 yards as a team. 230 passing yards. And of course, I mean, you have Mac Hollins and Keyshawn Butte, I believe that's how you say his name, hauling in your 2 touchdowns. Then you go to the other side, Tyreek Hill, 6 catches for 109 yards. Devon A-Chain, 8 catches for 92 yards and touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 5 for 68 and touchdown. Obviously, 1 fumble for the Patriots. They did not lose it, but crazy special team scores. I think at one point, A.J. Brown rolling and might have got him the first down if he wasn't ruled down short, but I think they're ruling him short. Are they going to do the tush push right here? Would not surprise me. 26 seconds to go in the half. I think Jalen Hurts is calling to go for it. I don't know why they don't call timeout here, but they're all sitting there confused. I think they're wanting their coach to call timeout. I don't know if Nick Sirianni, you got to listen to the players sometimes. I got my guy. But crazy sequence of events. So if they punt return and kick return for a touchdown back-to-back, you're not going to see that very often. But I think a lot of that has to do with the new NFL kickoff rules that I'm not a fan of. I think you should go back to the way it was before. Give them fair shots at returning it, fair shots at getting a touchback. If it doesn't land in the landing area, you don't move it out to the 40-yard line. And the touchback's not the 35-yard line. Come on now. What are we really doing? That's just making football soft. It really is. I'm okay with the protective headgear, even though I think it looks kind of funky. But overall, it's just not football anymore. It's just not football. And who knows how soft we're going to get in the future. But overall, I just think the Broncos now have the ball. They're trying to get near, 29 seconds left in the half. We'll see. They look like both teams, they do not. They just punted it. So never mind. But that's our Mad Minute. We're going to go ahead and just react to, it looks like they're going to be kicking they're kicking a 61-yard field goal with Jake Elliott with 2 seconds left. So let's see if we've got, 52. Career long is 62. May I pardon me. So they're going to try to close the half out with a field goal attempt. I think Jalen Hurts wanted to go for it. I wouldn't. Well, what do we got? Oh, and a false start. What's up with teams and false starts ahead of big kicks this week, even in the NFL? At Tennessee last night, we all still reeling from that. But that's what I would have gone for the tush push there. I mean, if you don't score it, Kansas City's probably not going to score in a couple seconds. But you go for it's an unstoppable play, and then you get, you have it like 20-some odd seconds with 2 timeouts, and you have a chance to get maybe into the end zone. Conservative play calling has just never been my forte, and a lot of these teams do it nowadays with, especially, now this is going to be a 58-yarder, I believe, just about. Yeah, 58, 59 yards. In Arrowhead, stadium's not too full, which is crazy considering it's the Chiefs fan base, one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL, against the team that beat them in the Super Bowl. I'm kind of surprised at that. I'm not knocking Chiefs fans, but he got it. Wow. Looked like the wind was going to hook it. So we go in halftime tied 10-10. Wow. It was a pretty impressive kick. Got a good one. But some of you in the chat, we're going to get into our final topic of the show today. We're looking ahead to Falcons-Vikings tonight on Sunday Night Football. J.J. McCarthy's making his primetime. Well, no, not really primetime. He's back-to-back primetime games. He's making his Sunday night debut against Michael Penix and the Atlanta Falcons, who are coming off of a game that they felt they should have won, which they probably should have. Chance to bounce back on the road again in a hostile environment on primetime football. Michael Penix last week, 298 yards passing and a touchdown. Had that great play at the end to extend on 4th down when it really looked like the Falcons had no chance. Going against a J.J. McCarthy, who threw for 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Overall, I think I picked the Falcons to win this game yesterday in my Sunday NFL pick show. I'm sticking with that. I'm going down with the ship. Minnesota may be favored by 3.5, but I think Atlanta's just a better team. They've got the better, I know 63.9% chance according to the ESPN analytics for the Vikings to win, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I think the Falcons are a better team. I think they have a little bit better of a defense, though they have more playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. Pass rush can get to J.J. McCarthy a little bit, make him a little rattled, make him look like a rookie. He looked like a rookie for much of that game against the Bears, and the Bears don't really have a great defense. So I know Vegas is going with on drinking the J.J. McCarthy Kool-Aid right now, but overall, it's just I believe in Drake London. I believe in Penix. I believe in Bijan Robinson. I actually believe it. Crazy enough to say, I actually believe in Kyle Pitts. I think he's got the talent to be a great pass-catching tight end. He reminds me of a little bit more of an athletic version of Isaiah Likely, and we know how much of an impact Isaiah Likely has on the Ravens defense. And we've seen through the first 2 weeks, Mark Andrews has struggled. He had a touchdown in his hands today that he let the defender knock out. All he had to do was turn and make a football move and squeeze the ball like he's prone to do, and got knocked out of his hands. This is Lamar's first game since 2019 where he threw 4 touchdowns without targeting the tight ends. Could have been 5 if Mark had held that one in. But I think Kyle Pitts will have a good big game. I think Bijan will have a big game. Obviously, the Vikings are going to try to build off that momentum with a rookie quarterback, but a rookie quarterback eventually does get his welcome to the NFL moment sooner than later, and I think this will be that for J.J. McCarthy. Not saying that J.J. McCarthy won't be good in the future and that J.J. McCarthy won't be a long-term solution for the Vikings. I'm actually was very encouraged off of that performance last week, but I just think that the Falcons are a better team, and I picked them to win the division. I still think they're going to. I have no reason even, they did give that game away last week, but the Ravens gave that game away last week as well, and look what they did this week. They didn't even have their best offensive performance, and they come back with 40 points. Minnesota's got a great crowd. It's going to be a loud crowd on Sunday Night Football, but I'm just, as I said before, I'm not a huge believer in J.J. McCarthy. I don't think he's got the let's see, Falcons by Fitty in the chat there. I just don't think his college success is going to carry over to the NFL. I could be wrong. He did lead them to a win, and he played big at the end against the Bears, but it's the Bears. In fact, we actually have a diehard Bears fan in our group chat that just basically tweeted today, texted us today, fuck the Bears, after talking a bunch of shit. Sounds like a UT fan. What sounds like a UT fan? Hey, if they had Brandon Aubrey, they would have won yesterday, and nobody expected Tennessee to hang with Georgia. So, and they did not. The AP poll came out. Tennessee stayed at 15, and most analysts have Tennessee as a fringe top 12 playoff team now. And all they got to do is win out or lose one more game, and they could still make it in. They won that trade. That's all that matters. Oh, you're talking about him saying Falcons by Fitty. Uncircumcised Penix is the goat. I got to tell you, that is, I hope you made that up yourself and you didn't ask Chat GPT to do that, because that is, you might need to put a trademark or copyright on that one, because that's a good one. But overall, we're going to let you all ask questions now. I've got the Falcons winning tonight. I think they will cover the spread. I'm actually going to probably place a bet before I get off here, or after I get off here on DraftKings. I'll be taking the Falcons plus the spread. Give me a Bijan Robinson touchdown. Michael Penix, I think, will throw for more than 200 yards. You got to, like I said, do not come to my show on tomorrow night and say you're the reason I lost money, because I don't believe in that much superstition. I do not believe in that much superstition. How badly do the Bears suck? Pretty bad. Pretty badly. Caleb Williams is not the solution. I didn't even get into the Bears' offensive numbers. Let's go get into those for just a second. Caleb Williams, 19 of 30, 207, 2 touchdowns and a pick, took 4 sacks. Tyson Bagent came in at the end because they were getting blown out so bad. DeAndre Swift only carried the ball 12 times for 63 yards, did score. Rome Odunze had himself a game, 7 catches for 128 and 2 touchdowns. But, you have Amon-Ra going off for 9, 115 and 3 scores. Jamison Williams, 2 catches for 108 yards, 54-yard average, touchdown. Isaac did you say that Tesla? Is that how you say that? Had himself a catch for 28 yards and a score. Sam Laporta had a good game. Well, a solid game, 3 catches for 26 yards. But DeAndre Swift lost a fumble. Tyson Bagent was in for that little of time and fumbled the ball. I mean, that's going to get him in the doghouse. Obviously, Caleb Williams will be the starter going forward. But no, the Bears aren't a good team. Is Jerry going to owe us each 200 push-ups at the end of the season? I think it's looking like that. I don't know if he throws for 200 plus Bijan gets 100 plus rushing. I can see that. I mean, why not? Vikings defense, solid, nothing to write home about. I think he could throw for 200 plus. 200, I mean, is a good low number for a quarterback that can throw the ball with some weapons. And they've got weapons on that side. Remember Drake London? I didn't mention him. He could get going too, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, the Bears are not a good team. Ravens versus line prediction. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that next week. I gotta save that one because it's a big game on Monday Night Football. Lamar is, I believe, undefeated on Monday Night Football and has never, knock on wood, never thrown an interception. The last time Lamar was on Monday Night Football, he threw 5 touchdowns against the Buccaneers. And Derrick Henry ran for 182 yards. So we'll see what happens next week because the Lions defense is pretty healthy, but at the same time, the Ravens are not the Bears, and NFC teams typically struggle against Lamar. So we'll see if that carries over. But overall, y'all, I'm going to get off here and watch the next of this game. I do appreciate you all for tuning in. Remember, be sure to visit cleaneats.com if you need some meal prep solutions where you need to just pop it in the microwave for 90 seconds. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment to boost the algorithm. Let me know your opinions. And does Derrick Henry play in the league anymore? I mean, we knew Cleveland has a good defense and they were going to sell out to stop him. And the right side of the Ravens line struggled. It happens. But Lamar still looked like the best player in football, which he's been for the last 2 years. So be sure to subscribe, hit that bell button to be notified when we drop our live content. I appreciate you all for tuning in. This has been another Sunday edition of the Cory Standing Show. We're going to get back to watching some football, and I will see you all in the next one tomorrow night.